So I've been working on these 9x12 works on paper on like mostly Instagram lives. So if you're not on my Instagram, I'm over there at natalie.didamio.art. So I've been going live a lot more recently. I'm gonna try to do the YouTube lives. I really don't know how that works. I never did it. Uh, we'll find out. But this is gonna be a longer video. What I basically did, there's about like 18 of these in process. So I'm separating them out. These are closer to being finished, so I wanted to bring them up because I need to like replenish a supply where I have works on paper for sale because a lot of them sold. It's locally here, so that's really cool to have that space. I appreciate it. So, and plus the work that they have there is like, now it's like a year old, so I'm like, oh no, it's not as fresh, you know, because I think that's one of the harder things personally, because like when you change a direction, looking back sometimes but then it's also cool because you can see the progress, right? You have to start somewhere. That's like the scary thing. In relationship to these, because I like worked intensely on them, and you could go check out the Instagram lives. They're all on my page. They're a little crazy, but but they're, you know, it's colorful, it's fun, and I like to just ramble about what's going on in the moment. So these kind of become more subtle now. That's always, I think that's so personal, deciding that. And that's why having your regular practice is really the most important thing you can do. I can't stress that enough. Also, learning too, right? When you don't know, maybe you need more information, and then that's gonna, you know, open up a new pathway of understanding and relationships and stuff. And sometimes that takes like a while to work itself out, but in art and life, right? But there's something about showing up daily that eventually over time you're really going to catapult yourself just by yourself. I only say that because I've experienced it. But in the beginning I didn't really think it was going anywhere. And sometimes it can still feel like that. I'm not gonna lie. You know? I think that's just important to like say out loud, because yeah, so you have more information, but it doesn't make it easier. Maybe what happens is the fear lessens and you're able to show up more, and once you really know your own process and practice, you kind of stop listening to the external things as much. That can take a lot, right? So there's kind of more of a subtlety here And when we started, I kind of, I don't know, kind of feel that it's ready to be built up. I am paying attention to how the space is divided. But it's like super subtle. It really is. Because I still want to keep that freedom and freshness. With like with a little bit of structure. I don't really like to see it divided like evenly on the picture plane. Um, it's just me. I always was like, even in the beginning of learning, I'm like, I did struggle, and I was trying to like force my hand into like this linear perspective almost. But like on the side, like of taking a class, I was making a lot of like expressive, emotive, like energetic, like mark making drawings and paintings. And I was just doing that naturally. So like for me, I was a little bit confused, like this work is coming out here, but it's not really what I'm learning. But nobody's really talking about this side. But then like now I just come to understand that it's the intuition, emotion, and energy that's driving the expression for me. And like I bring it through my like understanding of like energy work and shamanism, and that like heavily has an influence on like what I'm doing. It's very emotive. I don't have a problem going into like all the emotions, and that's actually what I help people with. I coach them into opening up more. Because we can be locked up, and like the goal is so you don't need me, but maybe, you just need, if you're in the beginning, you might need to just like feel it out and get a different understanding so you can anchor yourself better into the process and practice for yourself. So I have a lot of like that background and stuff that like just about holding space and creating like the safe space for the things to emerge, because we can get in touch deeper with ourselves, and then that can open the work, and it doesn't have to just be painting. It can be any kind of practice, really, creativity, whatnot, because we can be locked up in any area of life, really. And it happens to all of us. Like, it still happens to me. It's just the nature of the whole thing. But I think it's just hard to, in the beginning, like grasp it all. Yeah. And really, you're always learning, so it's not like you're ever done. You don't, and it would be a good thing to like consider, like even when you think you know, you don't know, because that's gonna be really imperative to like staying in the journey because it is a process. And when you're gonna be down in the moment, sometimes the low can be really low. So it's kind of just learning how to like surf those highs and lows, and navigate that. So there is like, in regards to when I'm closer to finishing a piece, there's like a more subtlety that's starting to happen, where there's less vigorous movement. But I'm like still looking to keep that freshness and freedom or whatever. So that's like really a challenge, I think, because you maybe want to keep it as loose as the first couple layers as the finished piece, but you're quote finishing it, so there's like more decisions being made that are more like delicate, so you don't go in and destroy the whole thing. But sometimes what's going to happen is you might start finishing it and then it does get destroyed, because that you can't really like predetermine any of that. I think that's really important to know, at least. And now I'm talking from all of my perspectives and how I see it, so if you don't agree, that's fine, but but I'm sharing how I see it. So like, I don't think you can predetermine if it's gonna, you can kind of get a good feeling, like for instance, this one, I'll work on this one next, and I'll bring it up, and like it's just like showing, and you can kind of identify that it's going to emerge, and then that's when I'm gonna maybe be more delicate on it. But to me, that's really personal, because it's like what you're looking for. But in this case, like, I'm only gently working into it and on it. I'm kind of like interfacing with it, letting it teach me what it wants. Maybe like going back into like this moment and accentuating it, so I can like look for what's there in regards to like color, shape, line, form, and then have it be more balanced out, but I still want to keep like the energetic aspect of it. So I think that is a tricky thing still, even for me. You can do that and change your mind, and then like, should something be there, should it not? What basically maybe I would bring more of this blue over, kind of like breaking up that surface plane. Like right now, the only thing I want to do is bring a little of this purple up into this area up here, because like, just because it's like the only place that has it, so then it seems kind of foreign, but it doesn't even have to be like much, and then maybe just go back in and put that in the background. The other thing is, like, white is my secret ingredient. You can always use white to like cover it up and start over. And I like to like color mix right on the surface, which is probably questionable depending on who you ask. Oh well. Well, I know for me that I like a lot of texture, and I like to see that, and I don't know, I'm just going with what I really like really, really like, and dialing more and more into that. And I noticed that's changed over the year. And not changed, it's just I've been able to bring it out more into the work and stuff. So that one, I'm gonna say, feels good. There's this movement with the neon orange. The blue is kind of moving over to this, from the left side into this mark and moment, and then they got this shape here is kind of anchoring it around. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. And then I have enough rawness on there and like drawing marks. So, there's this thing about, oh, when is it done? Eventually you just have to call something done. And because that's going to change over the years. You're going to build, the more you work, you're going to build up the sensitivity to having that understanding. And it's going to be personal to you, right? That's why it's so imperative to have the daily practice and maybe even start writing about it, or at least thinking about it, like what is important to you. Because maybe the things that are important to you are completely opposite from me, which is perfectly fine. Like, and maybe you do desire some of the freedom and stuff. You have to choose that, yeah. And you kind of have to, like, be an investigator of your own, like, energy and emotions around it all. Like, learning is great, and I wouldn't be here without my previous teachers, and I'm starting to teach now, so, like, I don't, like, discourage it. It's, like, important of a part of the process, but just, like, in artworks, we maybe cover it up and discard it, and, like, we kind of have to eventually, like, determine something for ourselves and just tune everything out, which to me is, like, so hard to do. And I still feel that way right now, even though I'm saying that and I can hear it. It makes sense to me, but whoa, it's just a challenge, because you ultimately have to decide for yourself, like, what you want it, what kind of expression you want to, like, stay with, even to, like, develop, and then what kind of relationships you want to create with the work. Because you are, like, building a relationship, really. You're building, like, this conversation, not just, like how these colors, like this light green goes to the pink, so, that's, like, a complementary idea, but you're also kind of, like, building your own complements within the work, like, no one talks about this, really, like, in an emotional and, like, energetic way, where it's responding back to you, and you're responding to how it moves, and it's like you're having a dialogue with it, and building that relationship to yourself, so it's telling you information. Ooh, that neon pink is nice. So, in regards to, like, everyone says, how do I, find the style or voice? And maybe you see it in the beginning, like, in your head, but you can't really obtain it. You just have to do the work. And the problem is the answer doesn't always come right away. It actually comes in a strange way, right? Like, you'll just be in a completely different moment and maybe not even thinking about it, and then all of a sudden, after all those years, it just starts to appear and emerge on its own, and you go, aha. So nobody can give you that. No teacher can give you that. They can be a guide into that understanding and awareness, and maybe help start to unlock and uncover what's blocked. But ultimately, you have to take yourself there. It's so important. I just want to stress that enough, because don't think like anyone has more answers than you. It's just about you showing up to the moment and trying to discover it for yourself. I say that with, like, a great humbleness and gratitude, and also with many hard lessons that I've learned. And I haven't, I did it more in my spiritual practice, where I looked for the external for so long, and then life kind of gave me a crash course, and it still is doing that to me. So it's learning how to, like, I want to say like circumnavigate, like learn how to like move with it even when it's hard to. And then if we can learn how to trust the emotion that's arising out of a challenging time, we can start to apply that into our life, like in our work. If we want like maybe more of an emotional free expression, and so I'm talking from all my perspectives that have in my life experiences. I've like lived a lot of lifetimes. um, so like, and I'm still learning, and I still have like a lot to learn. Just want to preface that like, you're never done, and as soon as you think you are, the universe will show you you're not. I know that. It's happening to me right now. But I don't know, it's just some things are out of our control. You know, and I know we want to know what it's going to look like. We want to know that it's going to be safe. We want to know that if I make this mark, or, you know, it's not going to ruin the whole painting. We want to know if you make a different choice, is it going to be the best choice? But you can't really know until you do it. You know? And so that's all a choice too. Do you want to show up to it? Do you want to see what's there? Do you want to learn more about the experience? Or do you want to just kind of shut down and run away? I don't know. It's still a choice, whatever you want to do. And it's not really a judgment either. It's just like, you got to decide it for yourself is the moral of that story. And then hopefully, you know, people show up and support you in the process, right? Because you're like daring to take like a risk or something. And then like it doesn't always work out. And that can be challenging, like, you know, because there's a lot of heartache, heartbreak, and things that maybe then you have to move through. I guess I'm talking more about life now. But it kind of applies into painting because, you know, we could look and be like, oh, why did I just do this corner up here? It was better before, you know. But then you could just go back in, you know, if you really think that. Just go back. You know, go back to it, start it over, paint it out, you know, have a new experience with it, because it, you know, you had 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 experiences with that section or that like life, but you know, it's different now, so you gotta understand that the relationship has changed with it, maybe with yourself and maybe with the, you know, so it's not really over, it's just starting again possibly, right? It's just like the silly way to look at it, I guess. Maybe not silly, but like a deeper thinking about it. And it's like how I'm seeing it. So then I encourage you to also, like, you know, explore your own understanding, even to what I'm saying and rambling about. Maybe you don't agree, which is fine. So find like what you do agree with and then go from there. You could see that this is all like more delicate, where I'm not like just you know, crashing over it so much as like maybe in the first couple layers. And that's like a sensitivity built up over time, like figuring out what you desire in the moment, and that can always change, right? So just keeping that all in mind. Oh, whoops. That broke. It usually does break. So remember, when the painting is starting to emerge and we're listening to the color, the line, the shape, and the form, and there's starting to be more subtle conversation as we bring it up, it's important to listen to see what the painting wants. How is it responding to us? How is it responding to you, the creator? How do you want to bring it up to your liking, right? Remembering that you have a choice to make what is possible come to life. You are the one that decides, but it's by paying attention to these sometimes dramatic moments, but then moving into the subtle and gentle shifts where we can find it all dancing emotionally, intuitively, energetically. And that is bringing more and more awareness so we're able to understand what it is that we truly want to say.